Hi guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. This is the English weekend predictions for the football. We're going to start on Friday night, and then we've got some Saturday games and the Sunday. There isn't Monday night football this week, but there is a lot of games on the Tuesday and the midweek, which I'll do on another separate video. If you can hear the creaking, it is the washing machine. Done with dryer. It's causing havoc for me today, but I apologise if you can hear that in the background. So we start with Friday, tonight's games. Bristol City in 6th against Birmingham City in 17th. This is an interesting game really, because obviously Bristol City, if they can win, they'll go 2 points behind Leeds in second. So that's a big motive for Bristol City. Obviously with the top two in the Championship starting to drop points, anybody can take advantage of that. You know, you've got a big group of teams at the top there, and obviously Bristol City want to be one of those teams. So I've actually gone with a 2-0 win for Bristol City tonight. I think they will get the job done. Into League One on the Friday night tonight, there is Lincoln City versus Rotherham United. Lincoln still within a slight shout of the playoffs, but because a lot of teams have played less games than them, obviously they've got games in hand, so that could put them out of it a little bit. But I don't think they're going to get the win tonight. I think Rotherham are going to continue at the top, and they'll win by 2-1. So we move on to Saturday, and the winter break in the Premier League has confused a lot of people. It's come out of the blue in a way, but there is 2 Premier League games on Saturday. One early, which is Everton versus Crystal Palace, and Brighton versus Watford. We're going to focus on Everton Crystal Palace. I think that Everton are slightly getting back into a mould of getting results, and they're doing pretty well now. So I've given them a 3-1 win at home to Palace. Brighton versus Watford, the relegation battle of the weekend. Obviously West Ham have been struggling, which will come on to them on Sunday's games. But you've got the likes of Villa down there and Norwich and other teams, and it's really getting compact. So I think this is a huge one for both Watford and Brighton, but I think Brighton will come out on top by 1-0. So we move into the Sky Bet Championship. What a week I've had as a Reading fan. Let's hope Saturday is a little bit more relaxed. But we start with Wigan versus Preston. Now, I've got nothing but admiration for Preston and the way they've been playing this season. I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, but apart from Ben, obviously, I think they are a great side, and I think they're going to win this game 2-0. Barnsley versus Sheffield Wednesday, the Yorkshire derby. Now, this is when a derby comes into it. Sometimes form goes out the window. I think that'll be the case in this game, but I don't see Barnsley getting that shock result, and I can see it finishing 2-1 to Sheffield Wednesday. So we move into Blackburn versus Fulham. Now, this is 2 sides that want to be involved in, like most of the teams in the Championship, in the promotion race. Fulham third at the moment. Blackburn, of course, just outside the playoffs. I did say on Benjamin's video about could Blackburn catch the playoff pack? They can, but is it a little bit too late for them? We don't know. But I think in this game it's going to be 2-2. So who knows what can happen in the next few games? And there is still 16 matches left for, give or take, most of the sides. So Brentford versus Middlesbrough. Now, Brentford have been getting better and better and better, and they've been creeping. Not mauling like Hull, but they've been creeping. So Middlesbrough have gone on a better run of form, but I just think Brentford are going to have too much in this game, and I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Brentford. Huddersfield Town versus Queen's Park Rangers. Now, my reasoning for giving this to Huddersfield Town has got nothing to do with the hoops or anything between Reading and QPR. It's all to do with the fact that Huddersfield have only lost 2 of their last 11 home games in the Championship. Now, when you say something like that, you think, well, how can this team be where they are? We don't know. But I've gone with a 1-0 win for Huddersfield. But again, I could always be proved wrong. Luton Town versus Cardiff City. Now, I said it on the other video, I'll say it again. Huge congratulations and respect to Cardiff City for what they did against Reading in the FA Cup and the league games. They're a quality side, and I've got nothing but respect for them. But I think they're going to go to Luton, and I think they're going to get a good result. I think it's going to be 3-0, and they'll forget about the FA Cup and progress in the league. So it'll be 3-0, I think, to Cardiff. Reading versus Hull City. Now, we play Hull this weekend at home. Obviously, it's been a very fun few weeks for Reading and travelling and stuff. I'm having a break tomorrow. I'm not going to the game against Hull. But I do think it's going to be a 2-0 home win. I think we'll get the result tomorrow. I've got some new fresh legs coming in. Hopefully some of the new players might be bedded in. We don't know. But with no disrespect to Hull at all, I think it'll be 2-0 to Reading. Stoke versus Charlton. This is an interesting one. I think that if you'd asked me to predict this sort of a few months back, I would have said easily to Charlton. But Stoke have got a lot better. So I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 in that game. Swansea versus Derby County. Now, the Derby County, again, they've been scoring goals for fun their last few games. They're an interesting side. Obviously, Rooney scored again. He scored against Luton. So he might be starting to get back into the goals again, which could be a problem. I do see him scoring, but I see it being a 2-2 draw with Swansea. Nottingham Forest versus Leeds. Now, this is the big game of the weekend. It's on TV at 5:30. I've been umming and ahhing about this. I've been scratching my head. I think Nottingham Forest are such a good side, and so are Leeds. This is a Premier League fixture. I said this a while back about some games in the National League about being league games. This is a Premier League fixture. These are two big Premiership football teams that should not be in the Championship. It could even be a playoff final if any things go wrong, but I've got to just give this one to Leeds 2-1. But I do think it's going to be a very, very close game, and that could go either way. But I'm going to go 2-1 to Leeds in that game. Don't shoot me. Okay, so we move into League One, and we have AFC Wimbledon versus Fleetwood Town. Interesting game this. I was sort of umming and ahhing for a while about where I saw this going, but I've got a 2-0 win for Fleetwood. Blackpool versus Southend United. For me, I think this is, for Blackpool, probably one of their easier games of the season. Southend have been struggling, and I think with the flux of new players, I think they're going to win this 3-0. Burton versus Gillingham. I've gone with a 1-1 draw in this game. I think that both teams are slightly evenly matched, and I think that this one will end in a draw. Excuse me. Coventry City versus Bolton. Interesting game. I think that with Coventry obviously being knocked out of the FA Cup at home away to Birmingham, I think it gives them a chance to focus on the league, and I think they will be up for this. Bolton, of course, are still clinging on to that hope of possibly sneaking out of relegation. So I think this is going to be a tight game, and I've actually gone for a 2-2 draw. I can't split them. Doncaster versus Rochdale. I've gone for a bit of a surprise win for Rochdale 2-1. Don't know why, just got a feeling about it, and I've always said that when you're doing predictions you have to go with what you feel. So I've gone 2-1. Peterborough versus Oxford United. I think this is going to be one of the best weekend games in the league, I think, because it's, you know, two massive sides that are trying so hard to go up. Oxford, again, as I said the other day, brilliant comeback on the previous video against Newcastle. Unfortunately, they went out to a tremendous goal, but I think, you know, they've got a lot in their locker goals wise, a few ex-Reading players. But no, I think that game will finish 3-3. That's just a prediction. Shrewsbury versus MK Dons. I think Shrewsbury were hard done by at Anfield. VAR disallowing a goal, which to me still, I reckon, was in. Well, offside was in, obviously, but it was offside. I think it was onside. So I'd have definitely given that one Shrewsbury. But this game, I think they'll come back and then they'll win this 2-0. Sunderland versus Ipswich. It's probably what people were saying, hang on a minute, when I said about Peterborough Oxford. I said one of, because this is the other one. It's a massive game for two sides that are desperate to be back in the Championship next season. I can't split them. I mean, I've had 2-1 Sunderland, 2-1 Ipswich, 1-1, 9, whatever. But I think out of this, I've got to go with a 2-2 draw. Tranmere versus Portsmouth. Now, Tranmere are starting to worry me because the last 3 or 4 videos I've done, I've mentioned they have not scored. And they've been beaten 3-0, 2-0, 6-0, and I don't see this rut coming to an end. I see Portsmouth going there and winning 4-0. But if Tranmere do score, fantastic. You know what, let's have a little bit of fun on the channel. I know I don't have many of you subscribing, but if Tranmere score against Portsmouth, I will run a poll and do a giveaway of some kind. Haven't quite thought yet, but I'll see. So I'm going for that. But 4-0 is the prediction. But if Tranmere do score, I'll see if I can do something on the channel for you guys. So moving on to Wycombe versus Bristol Rovers. I've gone down as a 1-1 draw. I think both teams are just as strong as each other, and I think they'll cancel each other out. So we move into one of the more competitive leagues, and we're going into League 2. And that is Bradford City, if my mouse works. Bradford City versus Grimsby Town. Interesting game. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about the Swindon play. He's gone back and forth, back and forth. He's now back at Swindon. I think that's going to hit Bradford quite hard, and I've gone with a 1-1 draw. Carlisle versus Swindon. I think Swindon will win that game 3-0. I think they're doing really well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were promoted at the end of the season. Yes, a Reading fan said that. Colchester versus Plymouth. This game again, I think two similar sides. Again, trying to battle as best they can, and I think that'll be a 2-2 draw. The draw's becoming a bit of an obvious one for me here, as I've got another one here with Crewe and Oldham. I've got that one down as 1-1. Exeter City versus Stevenage. Now, Stevenage have slowly started to pick themselves up again, but Exeter are riding not high, but they're high in the league, and I think they'll win that 3-1. So Forest Green versus Walsall, another tricky game. I wasn't too sure where to go with this one, but I don't see many goals, so I've gone with a 1-0 win for Forest Green Rovers. Leyton Orient versus Macclesfield Town. So I've gone with 2-1 to Leyton Orient. I think it'll be an interesting game for both them sides. Morecambe versus Mansfield. Now Morecambe, for me, I did say in previous videos that they are one of the sides I see going down. Obviously, like I keep saying, we don't know what's going on yet, but I think they'll find themselves in a bit of trouble and they will lose this game 2-0. Newport versus Cambridge. Now Cambridge are the other side that are slipping down the table quite fast. They aren't winning games, they're not getting many goals, and I can see them losing this one as well and see Newport win by 2-1. Northampton versus Port Vale. Now Northampton, like Oxford, played really well in their replay against their bigger opponents. They could easily have got a result, but they were outclassed by Derby in the end, and I think they're going to take that as a positive and go forward and go 3-1 in this game against Port Vale. Salford versus Crawley. Again, it's another one like Forest Green Walsall. I didn't see there being many goals, and I was trying to think who would I give the goal to. I think I'm balanced the play, and I've given it to Salford 1-0. Scunthorpe versus Cheltenham. I think this is going to be another one of those interesting games. I think Cheltenham obviously still trying to get the points to get themselves in the promotion places, and I think they'll get them and win by 2-1 against Scunthorpe. So moving down, we have the National League. Just the 4 games in the National League this weekend. It's Chesterfield versus Wrexham. I've gone with a 2-1 win for Chesterfield. Bromley versus Solihull. I've gone with a 1-1 draw in that one. Dagenham and Redbridge. I've gone with a 1-2 against Stockport, so Stockport County to win 2-1. And Hartlepool and Aldershot Town, I can see drawing a 1-1. So that brings us to the last 3 games on Sunday. It's the 2 in the Premier League and the 1 in the Championship. So it's Sheffield United versus Bournemouth, and I think that's going to be 2-0 to Sheffield United. Now this is the scoreline that might get me shot. Manchester City 5, West Ham United 0. I do apologise. I just think Manchester City even are going to be just too strong for West Ham. Millwall versus West Brom. I think Millwall are doing really well at home. Obviously they beat us a few weeks back. They're playing really well, and I can see them doing okay. But I think West Brom will win this by 2-1. Okay, guys. So that concludes the video for the English predictions for this weekend. Thank you for watching. I've done the Scottish predictions. If you were wondering why they're not on this video, they're on a separate video just to keep it a little bit better for you guys, rather than 20, 30, 40 minutes of me sitting here on a very noisy tumble dryer talking to you guys, trying to find different angles. I am hoping to get a selfie stick, so it might make things a little bit easier going forward. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new around here, let everyone know about the channel. And check out the other guys that I've promoted. Give them all the support. You've got Ben, who's the Preston fan. You've got Benjamin Bloom, who does the other podcasts for Ipswich Town and other championship sides. He's really good. You've got the Undateables guy. You've got James Beardwell, wonderful guy. Theo and Thogden, obviously the Bolton fans that go everywhere. So these are just some of the people. I'm trying to get as many of them. The away days guys, Ellis as well. I'm trying to remember all of you guys. But please, if you're watching this, please like and subscribe, guys. Go and watch their channels and watch their videos. And thanks for watching, guys, and good luck to your teams this weekend. Okay, bye.